Good morning everybody, and welcome back to another video here at the Shed Organics. Today we're going to be going through the #1 blend. This is the first blend created here at the Shed Organics, and today I thought I would highlight this product and go through all of the 15 ingredients that are packed in here and exactly what they're going to be doing for your soil health, and ultimately for your plants. So let's dive straight in. So firstly, if you haven't come across this product before, this was the flagship product that started the whole journey here at the Shed Organics. Now, back in 2022 and 23, Steve and I, who originally founded the Shed Organics with me, were going through trying to figure out exactly what would ultimately create better soil health, better fertility in the soil, and then ultimately better nutrition for our plants and for what we were growing. Now, we did a lot of research. We came across a lot of different things on the internet. You see so many different things, but ultimately we found that there were a few ingredients that really stood out above the rest as high quality ingredients that provided the exact different nutrients we needed. And a few other people have come up with similar style blends to this one, where maybe there's a few organic amendments and a few rock minerals here and there. But what we decided was all of these can be sourced here locally in Australia. And the point behind creating this product was to make it a little bit easier for those who can't get all of these ingredients in large quantities together to mix them up in the right ratios to provide the balanced nutrition that we need. So we decided to do that for people, to try and bag it up and make it easy and easily accessible for those wanting to grow organically. Now, there's no secret to what's in this. It's all written on the label. The point is that we're teaching you exactly what was in this and why, and therefore how you can go and make your own. So if you're listening to this or watching this from a totally different location to here in Australia, you might not have any of these things, or you might have ones that shipping from Australia or shipping all across the world is not going to be viable for you. So we've created this recipe essentially to show you the types of ingredients and often what you can substitute if you don't have some of these ingredients. So maybe something to comment down below if you're looking for an alternative. I can help you out with that. But to show you what's in there and to say, if you want to go and make your own, these are the ingredients that we recommend, and go and grab it and start using it in your garden. A fair few of these you probably have already heard of in circulating, different information about gardening and organic gardening and why these ingredients might be good for you. But it's important to remember, we're just doing this to help teach people, to make it more accessible. And you can really use a whole bunch of anything. Nature is very diverse and very friendly, and it's going to basically come up with the best result either way. So let's dive into the ingredients, okay? We're going to go through all of them. I'm going to separate them and tell you what sort of category they're in, what they're doing for the soil, and then a little bit about the process of getting them and sourcing them as well. So let's start from the top. The first one is kelp meal. Now, kelp meal is derived from dried ground seaweed. Kelp is quite readily available here in Australia. We actually get ours from Tasmania, the nice cool waters down in Tasmania. And kelp contains a whole bunch of amazing micronutrients. Essentially, potassium, iodine is a really, really big one as well, which is great, and a whole bunch of different trace minerals. Now, it helps to improve the microbial activity. It also is really good for our nutrient uptake in our plants. So it really stimulates that root growth and helps the plants take in a lot of those nutrients. Kelp is a wonderful food for us humans as well. It's really, really good for us too. So it's got all of those wonderful things like zinc, manganese, iron, copper. These are really good for the photosynthesis of the plant and all of the little processes that go on within the plant for things like hormone regulation and overall metabolic function. So kelp is an amazing one. The next product on the list is neem. Now, neem is coming from the seeds of a neem tree. So if you've ever come across a neem tree, they usually have these seeds that you can then harvest. These are either pressed for their oil, so that's where we get our neem oil from. And then the rest of the seed is turned up into this cake kind of mixture, which you'll see as I handle it and squeeze it. You can see that it holds together. Neem is amazing for our pest and disease management. It's great for the soil microbial activity, and it enhances the vigor of the plant. So its robustness, its strength, its firing out of the gates, it really, really helps it just really boost off and do really, really well. So apart from the natural insecticide qualities that are in neem, you're going to get a whole bunch of fertility that comes with it as well. Its antifungal properties are also really good, so it's stopping some of these soil-borne pathogens and things. So having a bit of neem in your soil is really, really useful. And like I said, it's widely used for its oil, but also for its neem cake or its neem ground neem meal, I guess, which is how we use it in this blend. So both the kelp and the neem I get them in a nice meal already. So it's already ground up, all of that processing's already done, and it's sourced directly from Australian sources and then broken up into that delicious organic material ready for packing. The next one is alfalfa or alfalfa meal. Again, this one, it takes a slightly different process, okay? I get it in these alfalfa pellets, which often you can be getting for sort of animal feed and things like this. So you get the organic alfalfa in pellets, and I grind it up into a ground form as well. So I'm actually out of alfalfa at the moment, so you won't be able to see any close-ups of the alfalfa. But if you've ever seen it, it's been used quite heavily in so many different ways. It's used for animal feed, it's used for mulch. Often you get alfalfa mulch, it's really, really good. And the deep root systems of alfalfa are really good to help absorb nutrients from deep down in the soil layers. So if you're using it as a cover crop or something like that, it can be absolutely amazing. It also fixes nitrogen, which is really good. But basically, it's dried and ground up alfalfa once it's already been used and everything like that. It's a really rich source of nitrogen, so a really great one to really kickstart some of those leafy growth that we get from our plants. And overall, alfalfa provides a nice general range of food, which is pretty good. Some of your potassium, some of your phosphorus, and things like this as well. So it's a pretty wide, balanced one, and alfalfa has been used for centuries and is a really wonderful one, which is definitely why I had to include it into the #1 blend. Alrighty, the next one is flaxseed meal, and this one was a bit of an interesting one. So flaxseed is also really, really good for us as humans to eat. Okay, it's rich in those omega-3 fatty acids and high in protein and lignins as well. So really, really useful for us in dietary form as well as a sort of a supplement type thing. But the flaxseed in the soil acts as a soil conditioner. It's got the oil when you squeeze all the seeds as well. It doesn't come in when it's powdered form. It doesn't have that oily texture, but it also holds a lot of moisture. So it tends to retain moisture in the soil, and it helps. And those lignins help to contribute to that soil humus formation. So the beautiful texture that it has when you just sort of hold it and you can squeeze it together, and it's this beautiful, rich, humusy feel. That's coming as well from the flaxseed meal. That's a really good, important one. So it's a lot to do with structure, slow release of nutrients, proteins, and fatty acids, and things like this as well, which you do get in it. Obviously, they're not as highly related to plants, but all of this amazing nutrients in the soil is another element that we're sort of combating with some of the things like our alfalfa, where you've got these really strong nitrogen ones. You've got these also slow release in the flaxseed meal, which provides this beautiful long-term feeding for our soil as well. So flaxseed meal is a brilliant one. Okay, next is crustacean meal. Crustacean meal is probably the stinkiest ingredient that goes in here. And as we know, all ingredients that come from the sea are really, really full of our nutrients that come from the sea. So they translate very, very nicely. Something like your kelp and then our crustacean meal coming from those high nutrient, high mineral environments, and then that translates into our soil. So In terms of crustacean meal together, this is usually things like the shells of shrimps and crabs and things like this. You can get something more specific. If you're looking for something local, just get whatever you can. Usually if it's organically sourced and you've got high quality ingredients in there, it tends to be pretty good all the way around. Now, something that's really good about the crustacean or the shrimps is their chitin content. Now, the chitin is a stimulant for our mycorrhizal, mycorrhizal fungi, which are the ones in the soil. They're the ones that are really helping to build that relationship around the root structure and to facilitate nutrient uptake. Another thing that you can get from crustacean meal is calcium. Calcium is really important in our soils, often overlooked. So crustacean meal is an excellent source of long-term calcium as it all breaks down into the soil as well. Another one we have from the ocean is our fish bone meal. Now, in this recipe, we actually use 3 times the amount of this ingredient over others because we tend to see that there's a large amount of nutrients and minerals that contained in this fish bone meal. And fish bone meal is ground down bones of fish, and if it's organically sourced, sustainably sourced, then you're going to get really high quality fish to begin with, and then that's going to translate into our soil. So the fish bone meal improves soil fertility. It stimulates a lot of that microbial activity. It's really good for strengthening the cell walls of plants and also pushing out some healthy root development. Now, the main thing that we get from our fish bone meal, apart from things like calcium, is phosphorus, but also we get a whole bunch of the trace minerals, and those are the ones that are often give you that deeper level. Same with the kelp. It's these trace minerals that we get from the ocean. Our ocean ingredients are full of these trace minerals in great quantities and diverse quantities. So we get a whole bunch of different sources, and we're going to make sure that our soil is packed full of those amazing macronutrients and micronutrients as well. Next on the list is soybean meal. Now, soybean meal can be a little controversial, okay? We need to be absolutely certain that our soybeans are organic and they're sustainably sourced. Now, there's plenty of inorganic or unorganic, however you say it. There's plenty of ways to source soybeans that are GMO, and you need to be really, really careful about that. So when I select my soybean meal, I make sure that it is organic and high quality. So from the get-go, we know that everything is going to be all good. Now, if you look at the soybean meal, you can see that it's broken down into these nice little pieces. It's very high in nitrogen, and it's a great source of protein for the plants as well. It's nitrogen rich, obviously, and it supports the microbial decomposition of organic matter. So when you've got our whole bunch of ingredients in the top there and in the mulch layer, the active microbes that come in can help decompose all of that stuff a little bit quicker. So it's a really, really good one to kind of speed up that process. It adds that level of being able to break down everything that we have in our mulch layer, including the #1 blend, your compost, and things like this. So that's a really, really good one. The last one is the amino acids in this, and the soybeans have these wonderful amino acids that really help to give you that protein synthesis in our plants, which is great for the growth and stress kind of tolerance. So if it's really hot, really dry, something like that, this is where the protein synthesis is really good to help give those plants nice hardy strength as they go along. So really good one, soybean meal. Next one we have is langbeinite. Now, langbeinite is a very a unique one, and it's unique to this blend. If you can find langbeinite, I highly suggest you use it. You can see it's kind of this like naturally occurring type mineral that's sort of a little bit wet as well, but it's a sulfate. It's a potash as well. So it contains a lot of potassium, magnesium, and sulfur. So these are essential for plant growth and development. It's, as I said, naturally occurring. So this substance you can pull out of the ground. You don't need a huge amount of it. We do have it in there as a really good form of that potash. If you've ever seen bottles on the store shelf called potash, it's essentially the natural mineral form of that, which we get this nice slow breakdown and this nice balanced ratio of our potassium, magnesium, and sulfur, which are also really, really good. They support all the physiological processes in the plant, enzyme activation, things like this, where we're going to get a whole bunch of I guess, control over how much our plants are talking, communicating to each other and breaking things down with the enzymes. The osmoregulation. Now, osmoregulation is also a very, very important part. We won't dive into too many of these different crazy topics today because we're just going through the thing. But if you look up all of these things, there are so many benefits to having these processes regulated within the plant, and langbionite is an awesome one to do that. You can substitute langbionite for different ingredients if you don't have it. And again, drop a comment if that's something you're after. I can give you some in the comments below, but we're going through these ingredients at the moment. So let's get on to the next one. Okay, next one is one of my favorites. This is malted barley. Now, malted barley comes to me in the full grain form, as you can see. So I grind this down. You could buy yourself some malted barley and just blitz it up in a food processor or a NutriBullet or something and just sprinkle it on the top of your soil. And what this wonderful malted barley is it's been germinated and then dried pretty much instantly. So it's kind of rich, full of these enzymes that you get at the very start of seed germination. So when you're spreading all of these on top of your soil and in and amongst your mulch layer, then you're going to get this beautiful release of enzymatic activity, which helps break down that compost and that mulch layer and all of the ingredients much, much faster. You'll often see that it creates this sort of fuzzy, almost like fungal type layer where it all sort of mats together and starts breaking it down. This is amazing for our soil. So if we can add all of this in, especially when it's ground up within all of our products, it's going to start breaking it down and bring all of those enzymes up to the surface to kind of mix around with that compost layer, and then instantly it's going to feed all of our soil. So an absolute favorite of mine for all of that enzymatic activity is the malted barley. So those essentially were our organic amendments, okay? These are ingredients that we can source from various different places, and they're organic material that we can then add into our soils, okay? The next one, or the next lot, are minerals. They're rock minerals, okay? They're sourced from various different parts of Australia again. Obviously, you can find similar versions yourself, but they provide our minerals, and they are really, really good sources of soil structure as well. And these are often overlooked. So there's a big portion of this blend which includes these minerals so that we have a nice balance between not only the nutrients that we're getting from the organic amendments, but we're also getting these wonderful minerals and elements that we wouldn't normally be finding in these nice ratios in nature, okay? So we're kind of helping it out by providing the most perfect ratios of all of these things and providing this buffet for our plants and for the soil to access. So the first one is soft rock phosphate. Soft rock phosphate is soft rocks. You can see as it's in my hand here, it's just a tiny little bit of soft rock, and they're all broken up. It's a natural source of phosphorus. These are from ancient marine deposits usually. So you might just have a whole bunch of it that's provided together in marine environments, and then it's mined and then taken, broken apart, and is used in our soil, so in this nice form. So when it's nice and fine like this, then we can use it in our thing. So it's really good for phosphorus. So it's good for the root development. It's good for flowering and fruiting. So all of our plants that do flower and fruit love phosphorus, and the soft rock phosphate is exactly what it is. It's soft rock versions of phosphate. So a really, really cool one. There's plenty of other benefits that you get from the phosphorus and from these minerals, but this one is a really easy and quite it's quite easy to find soft rock phosphate around. So a good one for this inclusion. The next one is another cool one. This one is volcanic tuff, which is essentially volcanic ash or volcanic rock dust. Now, we know that volcanoes and volcanic areas are super rich in trace minerals and macronutrients, okay? Silica is another one, again, for our plant structure and things like this, okay? You get a lot of good silica from things like bamboo leaves, from rice hulls and things like this. Really good silica, so great one. But volcanic tuff is a really good one for our silica, okay? It improves the soil fertility and the water retention, the structure and all that kind of thing. And it also promotes microbial diversity, okay? Its high silica content is that increasing in the water retention as well. That's what we spoke about before, as well as aeration, but it's also good for that structure of the plant as well. So having a bit of volcanic material in there as well is just going to be really good for that diversity of extreme conditions and plants that thrive in really fertile soils that often come from volcanic areas. So we're kind of tapping into that with this ingredient here. The next one is another volcanic-based rock dust. Now this one is a basalt rock dust, and in this ingredient we actually use 2 different types of basalt. So if you count up the ingredients, you'll notice that there's not necessarily 15, but we split the basalt into 2 different types. We get one here is a standard basalt rock dust that we get from one of the local mountain areas near here. And then the second one is a black basalt rock dust. Now, this black one is amazing, and the way it just falls through my hand, all this type of really fine stuff. But both of these basalts are really good for essential minerals such as calcium, magnesium, and iron. They're great for improving the soil structure and slow release of these nutrients. But what I really like, or what's really great about some of these basalt rock dusts, is their paramagnetic properties, okay? So they improve the soil cation exchange, which without going into too much chemistry or anything like that, it's really good for enhancing the nutrient availability for our plants and promoting root development and the uptake of minerals all around that root zone. So something to look up is cation, C-A-T-I-O-N, cation exchange, and a really cool one that the paramagnetic properties in these rock dusts from these volcanic areas are doing for us. So again, a really high quality inclusion, and I'm sure if you are near some sort of volcanic area or mountainous area, you'll be able to find some as well. Next one is gypsum, okay? Everybody knows gypsum. That's such a quality ingredient that it's been used for absolutely amazing, okay? It's essentially our calcium sulfate. You don't really need to see what gypsum looks like. It's pretty obvious. Everyone's seen gypsum before. Maybe I can pull up a photo off the internet because I don't have any gypsum. Again, it's on the order for the next one. But gypsum is our calcium and our sulfur, okay? It improves our soil structure by basically breaking down all the clay particles. So if you have some heavy clay soil or lots of compaction, it's often really good just to sprinkle and help just to improve that soil quality, break down some of the hard stuff to allow some of those roots to penetrate. So gypsum's just an amazing ingredient, and I don't really need to go too much into it because it's such a common one, but it was just a no-brainer to include gypsum in the blend. Last but not least is another one of my favorite ingredients, which is oyster shell flour, okay? And exactly as it is, this is flour from ground up oyster shells. Again, another ocean ingredient full of trace minerals. You can see how fine it is, how beautiful and floury it is. This one has a rich source of calcium carbonate because oyster shells are pretty much 100% calcium carbonate. And then we get all of our trace minerals as well, okay? Oyster shell flour is a really good buffer for pH as well, so it helps to kind of alleviate any dramas that you might be having with pH. Technically I don't test for pH very often at all unless I really think that that's necessary. But having things like the oyster shell flour in your soil helps to avoid any necessity to do so, because you know that it's got a bit of a buffer and it's going to help your pH levels no matter what. So again, another ingredient that you need to be careful of the quality of source, but once you've found it, you know exactly what it's going to be used for and how useful it can be. So really highly recommend our oyster shell flour as well. Alrighty, there we have it, guys. So there are our 15 ingredients that are in there. They're all on the label as well. So again, once you look up this product, it's on the website. You can see the article that has all 15 ingredients going through what they are good for. It's also got on the label how to use this. Now, I've used this in previous videos before of re-amending soil, top dressing as well. This is essentially replacing pretty much all of your fertilizers, going along with the cover crop, the #2 blend, which I'll do a video about at some stage, and some liquid feeds, this could pretty much cover all of your bases. All right, so to wrap up, just after the camera cut out a little bit there before, this is available on the website, okay? If you want to grab it all pre-made and just chuck it on yourself, then you can do so. The link is in the description. You've got all of the links to find out exactly what's in it and what it does for your soil. But also, if you want to make it yourself, I highly recommend doing so. It's very, very easy to grab these ingredients, to find them online, and find local versions to you. I highly recommend that. So if you're in a different country or a different part of Australia, see if there's any local ingredients to you. And if you need help with swaps, or you can't find something, or you want to know what's best, chuck it in the comments. I'm keen to help you, or send me a DM. But comments is better because we can share it with everybody and give everyone the knowledge to go and help make their own. So a few different uses for it, and yes, it is difficult to go and grab all of those ingredients in bulk and bag it up like this, but if you can't be bothered doing all of that, then again, it's on the website. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you sticking with me and diving through this product, but it's really exciting to share with you all of the benefits that it has, and I'm excited to get some more out to you guys in preparation for the winter season and into spring, into next year as well. So thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate all of your support, and we'll see you again very soon on the next video.